everyone. Good evening and welcome to day one of the Inspiring Change Conference tagged Evolve. My name is Sumbo Adiri and I'm your host tonight. I have my guest, Temilade Salami. She's already in the studio and I'm going to be bringing Temilade up real quick. I want you to please share the stream and invite your friend. Our topic tonight is Evolve, and Temilade is going to be doing justice to that topic. Don't go anywhere. Invite your friends, tell a sister, tell a girl out there that she needs to evolve. I don't want you to keep this good news to yourself. Inspiring Change Conference Day 1 is alive. And of course, you know that the grand finale comes up on Saturday, March 25th, 2023 by 10 a.m. at the Wisdom Arena. I don't want you to miss this conference. It's a life transforming conference, and this is the 10th edition. I'm going to be bringing Temilade up, but before then, I'm going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. Yes, so good to be back with you. I'm bringing Temilade up right now. Hi, Tammy, the global Tammy. You are welcome. Thank you so much for making our time to join us tonight. I would like to read your profile very quickly. And I'm just so happy that you're here because you have evolved greatly, and I give God all the praise because the Temi that I met several years ago is not the Temi that I see right here on my screen. This Temi has gone global, and I'm here for all of it. So I'm going to be reading Temilade's profile real quick. Okay. Yes. Global Tea. I'm so excited about the brand. I'm so excited about what you call yourself. So Temilade is a climate education and communication professional. Temi is the founder and executive director of Eco Champions, one of Africa's largest network of young environmentalists and activists leading environmental change through climate education, leadership, and advocacy. Temi holds a master's degree in environment, development, and policy from the University of Sussex. She also launched the Climate Education Leaders Fellowship in Africa, a program combining knowledge, expertise, and mentorship to prepare and educate the current and next generation of climate leaders. You are welcome. Temi, you know, when I was talking about when I met you while you were still in college. That's in University of Lagos. And how I met you that day, I saw a very young, talented undergraduate that I know that the sky is our limit. But the transformation was so fast, like everything just kept happening back to back. And I saw that transformation, and that's exactly what I would want you to kindly share with us tonight. How did you go from the Temi at Unilag, who was a spoken words poet? I remember even inviting you to Royalty Christian Center, and you did everything that you did. You did it with a heart of service. You did it willingly as unto the Lord. And then I saw that you became a Shivni scholar, right? And then this masters and everything, and then you launched Lights and Curtains, like all under the age of 30. I remember you saying you're going to write a book when you turn 30, and I'm like, Temi is not even 30 yet, and you're already speaking at the United Nations with all other ministers from everywhere across the world. To say that I'm proud of you will be an understatement. I am so proud of you, and I can see everyone is welcoming you. Welcome, Temi. Welcome, Temilade, the poet woman. Someone says, I know she loves. Someone is waving, pink waving. We're so excited to have you in the house tonight. So how did you evolve?
Thank you so much. I think before I even start saying anything, I need to publicly thank Pastor Sumbo. A lot of people might not know, but she was the first person to ever give me money for doing spoken words. And what that did to
Oh,
me was a lot, right? So let me just say a very big thank you to you here. So I'll just go right into it. I think for me, it was just basically two things. I knew where I was going, per se. I had an idea of where I was going, and then I knew that I could do a number of things, but there was a destination. At that
mm,
time, when I was in college, let me just lay it bare here. The reason why I did a number of things was because, yeah, I was funding myself to school, so I had to do some other things so that I could get money and all of that just to attend college, right? So I knew where I was coming from and I knew where I was going. So I understood all the things that I needed to do to get there. And one of the things that I
mm,
also learned is that, purpose in life doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, you want to be an environmentalist or a doctor, that's your purpose. I This
mm.
is the way I see life. Anywhere you find yourself at that moment, do the best you can do. So if you're a banker right now, put in your 100. Let the whole
Mhm.
world know that you are excellent being a banker, and when you move to other things, be excellent at it also. So when I was Temi the poet, I was actually Temi the poet that was
That's it.
excellent. So when I
Hmm.
moved into doing other things, that excellence was that singular factor that could not shift. So I could wake up. I always say I can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I just want to face this, and I'm still going to do it as excellent as it is. And I always tell people, don't be afraid to evolve, even if people knew you to have been this, to have been that. You are the owner of your life. God is in charge of your life. So if He says go, please do go. Just make sure that you are excellent at every point in time. Before Timmy the Poet, even after I did my NYC, I was selling accessories. Doesn't make me less of a person or doesn't make me
Mhm.
feel like I've lost sight of where I'm going, right? Some of those things can be temporary, some of those things can be permanent. My one rule is that wherever I find myself, let people be able to say she is the best at this thing in this field. So right now, if I was in maybe if I was making hair, I'll probably be the best hairdresser rather. So this is why I see life. Anywhere you find yourself, just do your best rather than thinking like there's a destination I need to get to and let me just be okay where I am while I wait to be there. Right. So those are the things that I did. But majorly, I knew where I was going, and there were some things that I had to like shed off, and some things that I had to do, delayed gratification, and that was it for me. And it really, really did help me.
I'm still here with you. I just wanted you to keep going.
So yeah, those were the two things. Being excellent wherever you find yourself, just be the best, and also be very focused because there's so many distractions in the world, right? So
There are
those
so
those were
many
the things that.
distractions. How did you come about that becoming a Chevening scholar? Were there days where you had written to so many schools and you had rejection? The reason why I'm asking this question is a lot of people cut short their own dreams and visions because of one singular rejection. I remember
Yeah.
during the Inspiring Change Conference CSR, we went to all secondary schools within Agege to let those young people know that they can be all that God has destined them to be. Yes, there's going to be detour, there's going to be one or two things that may want to kill that drive or kill that vision, but there is no limit to all that they can become. So, were there instances where you had maybe where you didn't pass, maybe you attempted an examination, you didn't pass, or you requested for the scholarship and you still did not get in? Can you please tell us more about that?
Yeah, so long story short, I was supposed to become a medical doctor. Actually, so I entered
Dr.
Unilag to
Timmy.
study dentistry and dental surgery, but Unilag happened. Don't worry, I'm a very good
Hmm.
student. But Unilag happened, and fought and fought, and I found myself in marine biology in 200 level. My first semester, I think I had about 3 E's because I could not just understand, in the Nigerian setting, you being a doctor and now you're studying marine biology, it didn't just make sense. So I was still trying to find my footing. So that time, the third year, I just said to myself, you know what, you are here now, just do what you have to do.
Just do
And I'm like,
it.
there's something possible, no matter what everybody sees. If everybody sees this course as something I just want to go for and let me just get out the certificate, I don't see life that way, because I don't think if I've
Mm.
spent 4 years of my life doing something, there should be a result for it. So that was how the detour from being a medical student to studying marine biology happened. And it was in between that I found all of the things that I'm currently doing right now, both my organization. And then I wanted to
Hold
apply
on.
for.
So you're telling me now that the course of study you eventually took up in Unilag was what
Yeah.
led you to this glorious future that we are seeing now. I
Yeah.
think that will encourage someone listening tonight. I mean, people just lose focus the moment they don't get their original course and they're like, oh, this is the course they gave me. Oh, I wanted bees at me, but they gave me social science or whatever. And then they
Yeah.
become unserious. And I feel being unserious or that sense of losing your enthusiasm is a lie from the pit of hell. God, who created you in his image after his likeness, knows the end from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just God's plan of directing you, because maybe you're a minister for environment tomorrow. Well, and he needed you to be focused in that line. Maybe that was God reorchestrating your life's journey. It's not like you didn't know what you wanted. You know what you wanted, but I feel that God has an original plan. He has a blueprint for everyone. So you found yourself becoming a microbiologist or marine biologist.
Marine, not even micro.
Marine, no, no. So you
Uh,
just 300 level, you came to your sense, let me just take up this thing. No, this looks
what
like what
shall
I'm
we
going to do.
right?
How did you
So
psych yourself up? How did you, what actually helped you psych yourself up to take up the courage to continue to do where you find yourself, to continue to make the best of it?
To be very honest, I would say God and
Yeah.
community. Community in the
Mm,
sense that when I got to Unilag, I was in a fellowship and all of that. And
mm,
they really held me together because there were some moments I'm like, what exactly? Why did God allow this to happen? I shouldn't have even come to the school because I left so many options just to be at Unilag. And Unilag was not even a choice of interest for me in the first
mm-hmm.
place. So
Wow.
when all of that happened, it was I could literally feel that this was God, and then community people checking up on me, my to be very specific, my
Mm-hmm.
church, my fellowship members, and then in 300 level, I'm just like, you know what, there's something out of this, and we went for a field trip, and I saw a lot of things that were going on in the ocean, in the communities, and that was how
Wow.
it just started. And I just think that sometimes detours are very important because we kind of chase some of the things that we think God wants for us, but that's not really it. Because
Yeah.
looking back right now, I feel like if I had studied medicine, honestly, yeah, I would have scaled through, but it's not something I'm really interested in. I can't even
Mm,
stand people at the hospital. I can cry if I'm with you. So looking back, I'm like, okay, maybe God just wanted me to have that experience so I could encourage more people and all of that. So when I graduated, and immediately I graduated, a lot of things happened. And that was just like God stamping it to say, you know what, I see you and I'm here with you. And then
come
I
on
got
now.
posted to Abuja, right? And that was how I started applying for Chibi Scholarship. To be honest, when I started applying, I didn't feel like I had to done stuff, honestly, but I did
Mhm.
not feel qualified in the first place. And I
Wow.
think I scaled through a lot. There were about 10,000 applications. I scaled through that
Wow.
and I got to the last set. And then the last set was, interviews. And I remember very well, I'd done everything, and I was literally murmuring on the call. I lost my train of thought. And from that call, I knew that I was not getting that scholarship. But rather than go back
Oh
and,
my
of
God.
course, I cried.
So
So I will not say anybody should not cry. Yeah. Can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, kindly tell me in the comment section to know if it's my network or has.
yes, I'm
All right.
here. How did you feel? Did you feel disappointed at yourself? Or did you
Yeah.
feel like, I'm not supposed
I
to do this anymore.
I honestly, I think it was actually a very depressing moment because I'd planned everything like, oh yeah, I'm going to go for NYSC, and I'd already started applying for the scholarship. Immediately, I'm done with the school. I mean, with NYSC, I'm moving to the UK for my scholarship. So everything was well laid out. I was good, but it didn't happen. And I think that was the only time I've ever felt guilt towards myself, like, oh, I didn't prepare enough. What could have happened? Like, this is not you. But in the end, when the final one now came in, I went back. And even when I went back, I didn't choose any other option. I still went for just one scholarship. And I'm like, God, we're going to get this together.
Man.
So that was it for me. And later, God literally showed me why He had to make me wait. Because the
Hmm.
year when I didn't get it was when COVID happened and people had to travel back home. People could not go to
Ooh.
classes. So, me going the year after opened up a
Woman.
lot of global opportunities for me. And I traveled to a lot
Wow.
of countries, fully sponsored. So, sometimes when God is making you
Hey,
wait,
you see
at
that
those
fully sponsored trip, eh? To me, we really need to. We'll take that one step by step because I've seen you. You're like a globetrot. You're a globetrotting. That's the word, and it's in this singular purpose that is taking you around the world and making you sit before kings and not mere men. Like I'm seeing that, God knows the trajectory of your life. He sees that this is the trail. This is how you're supposed to go, and then he puts people on every face to guide you so that you do not lose enthusiasm. But the thing is, most of the time people like to isolate anyone feeling that rejection or failure, tries to isolate themselves, and the more the devil keeps you away from that community and that fellowship, the more it keeps you grounded. So I feel one thing you did was not isolating yourself, even though things were not going well, and that community helped you during that season. And here you are. I'm sure that community, which I feel I belong, we're cheering you on every step of the way. Now, to me, there is a girl out there who is currently facing rejections. Oh, she has written all the application, all the proposal. She has dot the I, cross the T. I mean, she has every qualification, but she's still not getting the scholarship, or she's still not getting the admission. You said something. You said sometimes the wait is worth it. Apart from this lesson, what other lesson did you learn that made you value that waiting season? What became of the Temi, the previous Temi that didn't get in? What became of you? What were the things you learned during that waiting season that is working for you now?
Um, I think the first thing is don't bottle up your emotions. That's very
Mm.
important because you're just going to harm yourself. So speak to people,
Mm.
talk to trusted people. And then secondly, I always say that, separate yourself from whatever has happened to you, even down to
Mhm.
your successes, right?
Mm.
So if something has happened, you are not a failure. So I
You are
always
not
like to say,
failure.
I didn't get the scholarship, but that doesn't make me a failure, right?
Mm.
By virtue of just some random things can, even you might be the most qualified person, but maybe they just
Mm.
impute the thing in the system. It didn't just pick your name. So
Mm.
sometimes life happens, to be very honest. And then on the third part, I just tell myself that, you know what, God is the owner of my life, right? So I might be doing all of these things, but I understand that if God is saying this is not the time, it is not the time. On the other
Mm.
hand, it might actually be the time, but you might not be doing the right thing. So let me give
Abotitaya
you,
Kanda.
let me give you a very good example. One of
Yes.
the mistakes I made while I was talking during the first time I had the interview was saying things like me and my team, we. While this is a good thing to do, which I've been taught to do, that when you do project with people, you let them know it is you and your team. But this is a scholarship that is personal. So
Mm.
they want to know your role in your team. So rather than say, me and
Mm.
my team did this and this, oh, I was responsible for this on the team.
That's
That
it.
big difference. It could get you the scholarship, it could not get you. I mean, it can literally make the big difference.
A
And
big
then
difference.
there were some like in one of the essays, there were parts where they tell you, they ask you, because you have to return home after the scholarship, the particular one I took. So you have to tell them what's your plan after coming home. So my plans were like listed in three parts. So in the third part, I ambitiously said I wanted to become the Minister of Environment. While, in the spiritual, we understand ourselves.
We're
That's not
speaking it into existence.
no, that's not too
Abi?
far-fetched. My God, it can do it like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People that was dealing with, and they needed logical reasons, right? So they were
That's
asking questions like,
good.
how will you get there? How will you do this? Do you know how does
And you were
Nigerian
not ready with the answers.
so, right, you have to be you need to sit back, check what has worked and what has not worked, right?
Hmm.
And see, take feedback as constructive as it can
Hmm.
get. Because even recently, I reviewed some people's application, and I don't know if they felt it was personal because I reviewed it and I felt like this thing you put, I've been there, I've sat in front of five people asking me questions back to back. I don't think you should add this. I think you should remove this. Go for this and that. And some of them took it personal. So sometimes when people give you feedback, especially for things like that, know that it's not everything in this world is not about you.
Mhm.
Like sometimes
Mhm.
separate you as a human being from the things you are
Yeah.
doing. And when you are done with those things, get back into who you are. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not saying do bad things, but I'm just saying that sometimes you need to separate yourself even from your successes and failures so they don't get into your head both ways. Yeah.
Wow, Timmy, you see, you just put a lot of lessons inside the last thing you said right now. Sometimes you need to take constructive feedback, especially from those who have walked that journey. So you play the role of mentorship for those who are trying to get into rooms you have already gotten into. So the place of mentorship should never be taken for granted. And when a mentor gives you an advice, they are speaking from the place of knowledge, not knowledge by the books, but knowledge by experience. A lot of young people do not like feedback. They feel you're hating on them. Look at what you just said. We've been taught to speak into existence. This overconfidence, anytime you're speaking from the Godfidence, let me just put it like that, ensure that you have ample knowledge to defend that terrain, because the people you might be dealing with may be dealing with figures. They need their logic, they're logical. They need you to tell them how you are going to get there. So don't overblow up a profile that you cannot defend. I just learned so much. Temi, I'm going to be out of your face and I'm going to give you the room to talk to young people the value of having a vision, because it's one thing for you to just and be somewhere and be going with the flow and just feel that, well, I'm going to get to wherever this leads me. It's another thing for you to be going with it with a plan, with a goal that has a timing. And I know you have a visionary lecture, or like a seminar or a training session. So you can also touch on that. So I'm going to be out of your face and then you can have the room. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. I'll just touch on a few things. When it comes to vision, I see it as a blueprint or a picture of where you're going, right? So I'll give very practical examples on this call. So, for example, last year I knew it was really time for me to get a store, right, in the city that I live. So I run a business called Lights and Curtains, and we do t-shirts. So I said, okay, the Lord says it's a year of flight this year. There's a way you start your airplane for it to fly. You can't just get in and then fly. So there are processes, there are procedures for you to do some of the things that you are supposed to do. So I sat down. I said, yes, this is prophecy. This is what the Lord has said. And on my own side, these are the things I'm going to do. So what do you need to get a store? Get your books right. Do you have, has your business been able to like sustain itself in the past 1 year? If you get a store now, can you sustainably pay rent for the next 2 years without having to borrow from anybody or even pick from your own personal pocket? So I asked myself all those questions. What is the current budget that you can work with, that you can sustainably pay for the next 3 years? So you also need to start thinking about processes and realities of things on ground. Yes, we're spirit beings, and while we operate in the prophetic realm, it's also very important to bring it down to this side, because you are interacting with human beings, right? So you get your books right, and then I went around looking for a store, even down to the size of the store I wanted, how I wanted the store to look like. I was very specific. I said I wanted the store where there is natural lighting because I create a lot of content. I wanted a store where is accessible to people. I wanted a store that has this square meter and all of that. So I was specific. So for everyone that I went to that wasn't good, I mean, that was good, but was not to my specification, I said no. This is what vision does to you, because if you didn't have any vision or you didn't have any picture in mind, anyone that they bring to you, you will take. And this is where life works, because there's no plan. Anything that happens, you say, "Ki sera sera," whatever will be with people. God has not created us to be going with the flow of life. We should be in charge. We should be in control, hand in hand with God, directing our lives, right? If you don't want something to happen, you speak it into existence and you work towards it. So I said, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want it. Not just what you want, but how you want it, and how you also want to get what you want, right? So that's the power of vision. And I think vision also allows you, it keeps you on your toes, literally. So whatever anybody has seen about my business is the list of things I want for my business. I'm thinking warehouses. And let me tell you, your natural mind, especially, let me just say, if you live in Nigeria, your natural mind will not think warehouses for your business at this stage. But you need to train yourself to be able to see, so that when you are doing your business, you are not operating at a lower level that you are required to, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking warehouses, not just warehouses in Nigeria. I'm thinking warehouses in the UK, warehouses all the continents of the world. Because literally, even operating from Abuja, I have customers from literally like 10 countries who buy from me regularly. Now, I have a vision about that. So how do I handle my business to be able to meet up with that kind of vision? I don't treat my business as a small business, although in the logical books, it is a small business. But me, when I speak to my customers, when I handle my clients, I don't treat them as small clients that come to patronize a small business. This is what vision does to you. It realigns your mind. It makes your processes more concrete, right? And then the other thing is, when it comes to vision, there are always different steps to it. So don't jump the gun. If you know you are not ready, financially with the books and everything, you are not ready to sustainably do something, you might just look for other alternatives. So let me give you a very good example. Some people might have seen that I launched a store and you are just starting out, literally, like this is your day 10 in business. Your thoughts should not be how to get a store in the next 6 months. As a business owner who is just starting out, that should not be your thoughts. At that point, you should be looking at customer satisfaction, customer retention, how to retain your customers, how to get the excellent product out there. So there is a process. So if you jump the gun, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of young people suffer from these days, where we see people who are doing what we want to do. Like there's so many people out there that I really, but I make sure that while I admire them, I am on my own journey. There will never be another Temilade Salam. There will never be another Mr. Kende. There is no other Mrs. Sumbo. We can have mentees, we can have mentors, but God has created us as individuals, right? And we have our own unique abilities. So even if somebody comes to me and says, "I want to be like you," I'm like, this is not who God says you should be, right? There's a version of you that God wants to announce to the world. So this is how you move. Yeah, you can copy the processes, but don't be too much in that person's character that you forget all the things that God has said to you and your own personal journey, right? So it's very, very important that when you're preparing your vision and you see things that God has said to you, make sure that you are not copying others other people. You can copy the process, is very good, which is awesome, right? But make sure you're not copying what God has not told you to put in your business. I can give a lot of examples, right? And the other thing when it comes to vision, let me also use another example, which is my professional life. I work in a climate education space, and right now I'm working as a consultant. I consult for international organizations. And one of the things I said to myself last 3 years, was it last three? About last 5 years, last 4 years, when I started this whole thing was, okay, this is where you are. Your knowledge is zero, but this is where you want to get to. And I said to myself, for the next 5 years, if they mention climate education in Africa, my name will be top three. And not to brag, this is the way it is literally right now. And I said, okay, this thing is not just by mouth. Yes, prophecy and all those things. there is a working to the prophecy. There's a part you also have to play, right? So I said, what do I need to do? I need to stuff myself with knowledge. But beyond stuffing myself with knowledge, I need to also think globally. So I'm in Nigeria where, the subject of climate change is not even something that people talk about. So that could have been an obstacle for another person. Like, okay, this course is not something that is nice in Nigeria. Let me just go for another one. But I saw a problem and I'm like, okay, this is a very good way to fix myself as a pioneer in this space. So I said, I'm just going to spread my tentacles, abroad. And then I started reading things from other countries, seeing how other countries are doing it. I started building my community to be global. So I have friends in India, I have friends who are working in this space, I have them in other countries. So even if you're a business owner, your competition. That's why when I see two people competing, I'm like, this is not what God wants for you. When your competition, you should be global competition. If you're a makeup artist and what you do every day is wake up and check another makeup artist page, how many clients she has, is she making up a celebrity? It is beyond that. God wants you to see far. Is there a way I can even become an international makeup artist where people will literally book me and fly me out of the country to come and make up for them? These are things that in the natural mind, it doesn't even occur to you, but you have to train your mind to think that way. So right now, yeah, of course, I build locally, which I always tell people, whatever you're doing, build locally because everybody in the world can see what Nigeria carries. But that's not for this call, right? But build locally, whatever you're doing, and then spread your tentacles globally. That is very important. And stick to whatever you want to do because there will be so many distractions. I'll give this last example. So in the climate change space, you have so many, spheres. You have gender and climate, you have education and climate. But I said to myself, you know what? If I put myself in every sphere in the climate change space, I will not be an expert. So I chose one. I said, I'm going to be an expert in education and climate change. And so now, if you wake me up to talk about education and climate change, I can start from today to tomorrow and I will not look at any book. So that was what I did. But in the long run, I saw that people were getting opportunities, maybe because they were working in gender and climate, because of course, gender issues were things that were at the forefront of development space. But I kept to what I was doing because I knew that this is a marathon. It's not a race for 100 meters. So you also have to think long term and make sure that the distractions around you don't make you shift to where God has not called you to be. Very, very important. And let me tell you, like I always tell everybody, you have the power to dream as big as you want. Nobody's holding your eyes. So when God told Abraham to see, he said as far as his eyes can see. So it is you that needs to see. It is you that needs to see far. It's not even God that needs to see for you. So when God gives you all of those things, you have to see and expand your mind.
I was waiting for you to say that dream God can fund it, because every time I use that quote, I affiliate it to you, and I've seen you write it on you have written the vision and you have made it plain, and you are living the reality of dreaming that of dreams that God has funded. Temilade, thank you so much for sharing so much out of your own experience, your wealth of experience. I know without a doubt that you have just liberated several women globally with this testimony of yours. We're going to take a few questions. I know that there are people streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Periscope. Please, if you have any question, drop it in the comment chat. Latemi is still here with us for the next 6 minutes. She's going to be taking your questions. You talked about thinking globally, starting locally. You build with what we have remotely. There is this course that I took recently on secularization, and I saw that there is wealth in the things that we trash. There is so much wealth when we recycle certain things. The things other people call waste is money for other people in different industry. So if you can match waste to those who need them, you make a lot of money. Because sometimes you just see all this malams, they go about carrying things and picking things. You don't know that they are making money. Tell us about this recycling thing and the money embedded in it.
Oh my. Okay. So the recycling space in Nigeria is, let me use the word booming, and I really, really love that that's happening. But see, there is more room, like there's a lot of room for people. And I love that, there are different there are different steps in the chain. So you have the people who collect. Those are the people that you see on the road. Some of them don't even go to road. They have like offices. So if you work in a bank, I'm sure that you have plastics in your bank. All you have to do is like gather them, and then there are recycling organizations like We Cyclers, WE, then Cyclers. There's also recycle points in Lagos, in Abuja. If you go to my page, I'm working on putting a list of them because people ask. But trust me,
Okay.
I met a lady who has sponsored herself to school from 100 level. She's currently in 300.
Wow.
Just working in the waste industry. So it is waste to you, but the people who need it will pay much for it.
I
So
feel we haven't really done so well in educating people about recycling, like putting your plastic in a separate bag, papers in a separate bag, and trash in a separate bag. I think that if we have more knowledge in that area, maybe people will start embracing that. What are your takes on this, please? Wow, I don't know if Timmy can hear me. Hello, Timmy, can you hear me? Okay,
I'm
Timmy,
back.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Okay.
lost my network before. Yeah.
Oh, so sorry about that. Yeah, I was asking that there is little knowledge about recycling. Like we do not have that much awareness about how to keep plastic in a separate bag, paper in a separate bag, and then trash in trash. I mean, growing up, we just trash everything. Everything is trash. What are your takes on this? Has there been any sensitivity? Is there anything that you're planning to do in the future to help sensitize people more, or make an awareness about this that will help our global economy?
Yeah, so the work, to be very honest, the work is actually like a government work. Because in the end, when you even separate this waste, they just like put them together and take them out. But
Mhm.
recently, there is something that I noticed. So when I use like bottles in the house, I just try to like separate them and keep them like in the bin. So there are these women that come. It makes it easy. Before I just like put them together, because when they come,
Together.
they just pack it and go. But like, I noticed that there were some women who were actually picking them out. So I started putting them aside and then putting them out, and they picked it. They are able to sell it and they make money for themselves. Right. So I think is more of a sensitization work. But beyond that, it is also more of a national let me put it this way, a national sensitization work, right? Because I always say that sometimes NGOs will not do the work of the government. We can only try, right? So while we will go to schools, give out beans and tell them to separate their waste, what is the government who carries the waste, who comes to carry the waste, what do they do with it, and how do they sensitize the
Okay.
people? But I think one of the
Mhm.
things that we can do, like I always preach, you have your circle, you have, if you work, I keep saying bank, if you work in a bank, you're probably the MD, or even you work like maybe you're the cashier, you can talk to them. Oh, boss, I think we should start separating our waste, and I think our company can help with it. Please.
Yes, in your
So,
little community,
yeah,
make a difference.
yeah, just
Your
wherever you
little
are.
square make
Yeah.
a difference wherever you are. Tell me, before you go, I know a lot of people have questions, but I want us to take this break so that you two can catch your breath. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in 1 minute.
Hooray! Inspiring changes 10, and we are celebrating it big.
This year I rise and shine. I am taking my place in glory. I evolve. This year I rise.
Starting from the 21st of March to 25th of March 2023, the grand finale takes place on the 25th of March by 10 a.m. with seasoned speakers who have evolved greatly, like Mrs. Tara Durotoye, Dr. Helen Paul, Pastor Mrs. Funke Felix Adejumo, Mrs. Doyin Ogumefun, Bimbo Ademoye, and Pastor David Adeoye. Hosts Adesumbo Adeoye. Awards and gala night comes up thereafter. For seat reservation, please call 0816 212 1090. Thanksgiving service comes up on Sunday, the 26th of March, 2023 at Royalty Christian Center, Lagos. For registration and other details, kindly visit www.inspiringchangeng.org. Admission is free. Be there.
Yes, so we hope to see you on Saturday, March 25th at the Wisdom Arena. Ensure that you invite a sister and tell another sister that it is the 10th anniversary of the Inspiring Change Conference and the theme remains evolve. Thank you so much, Temilade, for being here with us tonight. I'm going to release you in a bit, but someone is asking a question. Oh, someone says this is coming at the right moment for me because I am new to business ownership. I really love this. This is practical knowledge. I love how Temilade uses examples to describe our experiences, and it's amazing. Wow. Another person says, awesome conversation. Thank you so much, Temilade. Thank you for being, true. This is as true as it can get. And thank you for being very open about your faith. A lot of people try to shy away. They want to be great, but they don't want to talk about greatness, which is God Almighty. But thank you for letting us know the role that God plays in your life's journey, because that is key. I tell a lot of people that God is the orchestrator of my life. If I face a detour today and I speak to him and he gives me clarity to keep going, I'll keep going, and I can assure you that I would amount to good success on that line too. So Temilade, thank you so much. One last word for everyone out there, please.
My popular saying, dream God can fund it and God cannot mismanage your life. Like, no matter where you are right now, a detour, it is not even a detour. You're just still going, but you feel like you're supposed to be doing something special. Just be faithful where you are and then watch how God is going to, blow your mind, like I always say. So, dream.
You said that God cannot mismanage your life. Come on. God cannot mismanage your life. Thank you so much. I don't want you to go, but I know you have to do other things. So I look forward to seeing greater reports and greater feats from your end. Happy International Women's Month, my darling. Keep shining the light of God. God bless you. Bye. So everyone, it's still the Inspiring Change Conference Day 1. I had Temilade on the show with me tonight. Tomorrow we're coming again, 8 p.m. West African time. Please tell a sister, tell a brother, tell everyone you know that needs to evolve. See, there is one thing about knowledge. What you know determines how far you go, because it's the right application of knowledge that takes you to the place of success. So please tell another person to come here and glean more knowledge, and ensure that before you leave, you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Sumbo Adeoye. So I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, the grand finale of the Inspiring Change Conference comes up this Saturday, March 25th, 2023 by 10 a.m. at the Wisdom Arena, Agege, Lagos. If you want more on this, please go to www.inspiringchangeng.org. And if you'd like to join the Inspiring Change tribe, please, you can send us an email to inspiringchangeinitiative@gmail.com, or you call the number that is scrolling on your screen. My name is Sumbo Adeoye, and I've been your host tonight. You have a very, very lovely evening. I see all your comments. I see all your comments. It's such a pleasure to have you join us tonight. Please don't keep this good news to yourself. Tell others about it and let them know that there is a place. God bless you all. You have yourself a very beautiful evening. Bye.
Hooray! Inspiring Changes 10, and we are celebrating it big.
This year I rise and shine. I am taking my place in glory. I evolve. This year I rise.
Starting from the 21st of March to 25th of March 2023. The grand finale takes place on the 25th of March by 10 a.m. with seasoned speakers who have evolved greatly, like Mrs. Tara Durotoye, Dr. Helen Paul, Pastor Mrs. Funke Felix Adejumo, Mrs. Doyin Ogumefun, Bimbo Ademoye, and Pastor David Adeoye. Hosts Adesumbo Adeoye. Awards and gala night comes up thereafter. For seat reservation, please call 0816-212-1090. Thanksgiving service comes up on Sunday, the 26th of March 2023 at Royalty Christian Center, Lagos. For registration and other details, kindly visit www.inspiringchangeng.org. Admission is free. Be there.